Hey there, this is Andy and welcome to the Art Lab. Today we're going to take a look at a project where I use some macrocarpa wood and I tried to put some epoxy in there, but I did a number of the fundamentals wrong. So the results weren't that great, and what that meant was I decided to scrap it, start again, and the results on the second go were pretty amazing. If this is your first time on my channel, I do projects with resin, acrylic, woods, 3D printing, and a whole lot more. So if that's something that interests you, hit that subscribe button and write subscribe in the comments below. What you're watching now is my first attempt at making this board. So I routed out the path and then filled it with resin, but I did a couple of things wrong. Firstly, I didn't seal it beforehand, and secondly, I didn't level the board. What this meant was that the colour stained the board and it was really hard to sand out, and I wasn't able to sand out some of that staining along the edge of where the resin met the wood. So that called for some drastic action. That's right, it was time to start again. So the first thing I did was make the area where I'm going to pour the resin a lot bigger. That meant I was able to cut out all that staining along the edges, so that made it a lot wider, and then I had to just route down the rest of the resin that was on there to make it ready for the next pour. One of the things I forgot to do last time was to seal the wood with some epoxy resin, and so here I'm just using some resin to do that. Right, so I've sealed this up now so that hopefully we won't have a mistake like last time and the colour won't leak into the wood. So let's just give that a try. What I need to do now though is I'm going to put some tape around these different edges and block off and dam up that area so that the resin can sit there. Instead of having to build a mould box, I found that duct tape is a cheap and easy solution for keeping resin within an area. So just like here, I'm creating this sort of dam along the edges to keep the resin inside of the wood area. One of the other things I got wrong last time was to not level my piece of wood, and what this meant is that all the resin ran to one side, and so this time I'm going to be going and ensuring that this is nice and level so the resin sits as level as possible to make it nice and easy when it comes to sanding. I'm also using another cheap trick here to keep resin contained within inside the wood here, and that is by using a glue gun to create a dam. The glue dries it really easily and it comes off pretty quickly. If you take a look at one of the DIY projects on this channel, that is to create a vacuum chamber, and I did that with an old paint pressure pot, and here I am using it to remove air from the resin ready for pouring. Since this board was a do-over, I decided to also change the colour of the resin that I was using. So in this instance I've used a red. I really like this mica powder red. It gives a really nice ruby colour, and it gives you some great patterns as well with the sort of dark and light colours within it. Managed to remove most of the air bubbles with the vacuum chamber, but it's always still a good idea to go along with the flame and pop any remaining bubbles that may have come to the surface. Alright, so now I've got my new piece all hardened up, and I'm just going to take these off, and it's going to need a sand. I did have another leak by the looks of things, so might do the same thing and just get that belt sander out to do that. Bit unfortunate, but it's all a learning experience and I'm learning as we go. Unfortunately I don't have a thicknesser or a drum sander, so I'm just using my good old belt sander here to get some of that excess resin down and get it nice and level. And once the belt sander has done its thing, then it was on to my orbital sander. I love my Bosch orbital sander, it's fantastic. And essentially I just went through those grits of sandpaper. So it started at 40, 80, 120, 240 and lastly 320. Once I get to the 320 grit stage, I just use an alcohol wipe to get rid of all that excess dust that may be lying around, ready for the next part, which I'm going to do a bit of a buff and polish. I've got some CRC plastic polish which I'm using here, and I'm using that with my 320 grit sandpaper to really buff in and polish the epoxy. And once I've done that, just another spray with some isopropyl alcohol to give that a wipe down and get any excess of that buffing polish off. And we're almost done. I've just got some food safe wax here which I'm going to use to do the final coats and seal the wood and give it a nice polish and clean. And here we are, all finished. I'm really pleased with myself on how this has come out. It's gone from a bit of a mistake that I did to something which I really love. I hope you've enjoyed seeing me take this from mistake to masterpiece. I'm keen on your thoughts, so leave them in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Everyone stay safe and have a happy holidays. I'll see everyone in the next one.